Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, OV number 172, and here the topic is Ajnana Khandana, and we are meeting after 3 weeks. So it was told that the Supreme Self has no desire to see or manifest. Yet, without desiring, it manifests itself. So it is told, thus without desiring to see itself, the Atma Tattva is doing so. So without wanting to see, it is seeing. Without wanting to experience, it is experiencing. Without wanting to manifest, it is manifesting. Because can the reality, can the totality, can the absolute have any desire? It cannot. Yet we see the phenomena, isn't it? Yet we see the phenomena. Can we say the waters have the desire to express as waves? And yet it is happening. Can we say the gold has the desire to become an ornament? Even once it is not possible. Because whatever form it is taking place of its own accord. Gold remains gold, immaterial, whatever way it is expressing. So here also the same. Similarly, in the 172nd OV it says, the seeing or not seeing never has any significance in the Atma Tattva, just as the moon has nothing to do with the bright or the dark fortnight. We who are separate from the moon, we see that the waxing and the waning of the moon, there is no moon, and after 15-16 days there is full moon, and then again after 15-16 no moon. We see that, but from the moon's point of view, does the moon feel that it is waxing and waning? No. Does the sun feel that it is expressing as heat and light? No. Does the water feel that it is wet? No. Do the eyes feel that they are seeing? It is their nature. See, that which is your nature, how can you have a desire for that? Think about it a little bit carefully, little bit, allow it to sink in. That which is your nature, how can you have desire for that?
Not natural to desire for it.
There's no, it is not possible.
We do, don't we?
Pardon me?
But we do desire it from the ego's point of view.
To desire the self.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we think we do something.
And that desire is keeping us in our imagination, in our mind,
Yes.
it is keeping us away from ourselves.
I know what it is. The centipede has 100 legs, and its natural form just
For him to just move all the
but
legs
the minute
to
he thinks about his legs, he falls over.
So here the point is that is being made is that the reality, without desiring, without wanting, without wishing, continues to express. And that brings us, so whatever is present or absent, who sees there is presence and absence, or present and absent, or past, present, future? Who sees that? We say that, isn't it, as individuals? But from absolute point of view, which is one without a second, which is all pervading, for it, there is no idea of what is present and what is absent, what is dark and what is light, what is heat and what is cold. It doesn't know. Yet it knows without knowing. Because it alone is expressing as all that, isn't it? whether it is seen, present or not seen, absent, that is whether there is manifestation or no manifestation, whether it is darkness or it is light, these comparisons do not concern the moon. The moon is ever present and is ever the same complete self. Does it ever occur to the moon that this is the bright fortnight or this is the dark fortnight? In the same way, from the pure consciousness point of view, never was there something called presence or absence, seeing or not seeing. Similarly, from the self point of view, from the absolute self point of view, there is no manifestation and no unmanifestation. From our point of view, from witnessing point of view, we can say the mind manifests as waking and dream, and mind becomes unmanifest, called the deep sleep state. But from the truth point of view, which is witnessing is in this equipment, we become the witness of this equipment. But when the witness becomes aware of itself, it becomes the absolute. From absolute point of view, there is no presence and there is no absence. There is no manifestation and no unmanifestation. And yet, the phenomena continues. Yet the phenomena continues. This has to be intuited. It is only by grace that it clicks. We can only put words to a certain extent to explain. Continuing further, Manavni he na bhyave, aise hi karu pave, tari taisa chi swabhave, ayita ase. Therefore, although he is able to suspend the creation, that is Triputi formation, yet he exists ever effortlessly. For us, existence means knowledge, right? For all our purposes, because I know, therefore I exist. That is the norm with which humanity lives. I know, therefore a thing is. I know this book, therefore this book is. I know that I am, therefore I exist. But the other way is the truth. I am, therefore thinking happens. So here the teacher is telling, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, every thought is formed because of the subject, object and the instrument of knowledge. That's how a thought comes about. Thought comes about in your mind of its own accord. It stays for some time and it goes away after some time, isn't it? Creation, maintenance and destruction. But you know that this thought was absent before, now it has come into creation, now it is there in your mind, and then after some time it will go away. You also know that the thought has gone away, isn't it?
I used to think
So, wait. So you know that the thought was not there before, it was there for some time, and afterwards it is not there anymore. So this person who knows, and he is not using thoughts to know the thought. He is not using thoughts to know the thought, but he knows without knowing that he is the permanent and all this is just, he is unaware of that. I can't even use the word unaware. But in his presence this is taking place. He doesn't need a thought to prove its existence. Whether you take the Lord or you take the pure consciousness, it does not require the word consciousness to prove its existence. It doesn't require the word or the thought called self in order to prove that the self is. Because where is a thought appearing? In the mind. Does it remain all the time? No. But does the self, which we are using the word to indicate to our essential nature, does that essential nature remain ever? Whether we use the word self or don't use the word self, it ever is. Be that. That is what the teacher is telling. Be that. That is your true identity. That is what you are. But we are so trapped in the mind, in the web of thoughts, that we think without thinking, I must know everything only by way of thought, only through the medium of thought. But there is another way which is more wholesome, which is more complete, which you are already functioning as, but unaware of. Awareness is not through the medium of thought. Awareness is in spite of the thought. Right?
So thoughts get in the way.
Thoughts get in the way. So awareness is in spite of thought. You are aware of the coming and going of thoughts. So do you need thoughts to establish the existence of awareness?
Quite the opposite.
No, the other way. Come to this point again and again. Come back to this. Come back to this point. Not just to this point. Be that awareness. Therefore, the Atma is ever existent even in the disappearance of the world. The unreal never is. The real never is not. Even in the absence of the field called knower known knowledge, the pure Atma Tattva is ever existence. This existence is effortless. Now think, can that which is coming and going all the time, what is coming and going all the time? Thoughts. That which is coming and going is finite in nature. It is ephemeral. How can it ever come to know that which is permanent? It cannot. See? So this existence, this awareness that we are, this self that we are, this pure consciousness that we are, this divinity that we are, this Paramashiva that we are, essentially, it is existing effortlessly. It doesn't require any proof. It doesn't require any authentication. It doesn't require any authentication. It is self-existing. It is self-illuminating. See? It is self-knowing. But we know only knowledge through thoughts. The statement self-knowing is indicating, even though we are using thought called self-knowing, but what it is indicating is something beyond thoughts.
And beyond knowing.
Beyond knowing.
What is intuition?
In our general way.
Yes, yes.
And that you essentially are.
What about intuition? What's that coming from? It's not coming from...
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Intuition is not required right now. Just be. Just be. Yes, I use the word that we have to see beyond the words. You have to go beyond the words. For that, a special kind of disposition is required. And that disposition is not at the level of mind. That disposition requires you to be you in spite of the thoughts. That is what it requires. To be is never tiring. We have not become tired. But we get tired of thinking.
We sure do.
That's why we go to sleep. Because we get tired of thinking. But do we get tired of being who we are?
No. That's why
As
one
life
goes to sleep
expresses,
and be-
does life ever say I am tired? No. So to be is never, not tiring. But to become a father, to become a mother, to become a friend, or to become a teacher, or become whatever role that you take, that eventually exhausts us. How does it exhaust us? Physically and mentally. Because we take on a role.
I think mental activity is more tiring than physical.
Say that again.
I think mental activity is more tiring than physical.
True. Because the physical also is an idea in the mind alone. The physical is also only merely an idea in your mind.
You know, you could explain that a bit better.
That you have to work it out.
I don't have to work it out.
Then don't ask the question.
But no, but the thing is, the eyes see atoms, got that molecules and everything else, it goes to the mind, and then whatever's in the mind creates the picture. It is in the mind, yeah, but how does it do it's another thing. I'm sorry, can't help it.
Keep dwelling on it. I had answered it before few times. Few times I have answered this question. Go back.
I forgot.
Forgotten. It is okay if you forget this, but don't forget the topic that we are on. And the topic is, we don't get tired of being who we are, but we get tired of being a waker, we get tired of being a dreamer, we get tired of being a deep sleeper, we get tired of being a father, mother, daughter. Any role we become, we get tired. But we are not tired of being who we are. Becoming always brings about a load of responsibility, a load of becoming, and that exhausts us. It requires effort, and wherever there is effort, there is frustration, there is friction, and that generates heat, and that heat exhausts. Becoming generates heat. Becoming generates efforts. Where efforts are put, heat will be generated. Efforts, not necessarily all efforts that you put give you the result that you want, and therefore frustration. The more the attention is on the truth, the more easily the effortless existence will be realized without any effort. So where is our attention? Where is her attention? On the question. What is intuition? Can you explain this a little bit more? And what is the topic going on? This is just, I'm not being personal, but shift the attention. The teacher is saying, the more your attention is not a thought. Attention is not a thought. The more your attention is on the truth, on being, not becoming, not on any role, but just on that one, because of which thinking, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, breathing, all activity is taking place. Who is continuously observing without becoming anything. The more you come back to this source, which is you alone, bring your attention to that, everything will start sorting itself out.
Thoughts will slow.
Everything will sort itself out.
Yes.
Everything will sort itself out. The more our eyes try, right now the eyes are looking at everything. But if we make the eyes to look at themselves, all the multiplicity of images will start vanishing. Ears are hearing all different words, sounds. If you try to hear the sound which is present in the ear, you will become immune to all the sounds. They will become zero. Then only one sound will be left. You are going back to the source. So similarly, when our attention, rather than on the thoughts, becoming necessarily generates thoughts. If I am a father, automatically as a father I'll think about children, I'll think about the duties, responsibilities. If I am a husband, I'll think about the wife, and if I am a son, I'll think about mother, etc., etc. If I am a teacher, I'll think about teaching. But when I am not taking on any role, and one can do that even while the role is being expressed. Even while teaching, because teaching is going on, Words are coming out of the mouth. Eyes are seeing. You don't identify with all this. Phenomena is taking place. You be in the back watching this drama unfold. See? But the more I put attention on this one who is untouched by all that is taking place, the more I become in tune with the divine. The tuning with the divine is not by thinking about the world. Tuning with the divine is by thinking about the divine or by being the divine, by putting attention on the divine, initially by thoughts and eventually letting go of the thoughts and recognizing that this divine is my essential nature. This is how transformation comes about while living, not after death, not posthumously. It is while living. What's the point? Who knows what happens after death? Nobody is going to come back and tell us. We don't want peace after death. May you rest in peace. That person will rest in peace, whether you like it or not. But we want peace. We want peace while living. We want to be the source of peace. We want to be the peace. We want to be in harmony. We want to be integrated. We want to be that which has always been, which always will be, which always is, right here and now, not after some time, not after death, right now. The most miserable search is the search for joy, whether in the material or spiritual world. Till this search is continued, the truth is far away, because effortless being cannot be searched for. Whatever efforts are associated, the truth is denied. So the more questions we ask, the more we are moving away from the truth. Nobody needs to tell you what the truth is because you are already that. No, but I am confused. Okay, then listen. But listen without, how should I say, without creating a barrier between what you are listening and yourself. There was one rule with our teacher, Swami Anubhavananda. For 2 years that we studied with him, we were not allowed to ask even one single question. We had to sort everything out in our own head. That was the challenge presented to us.
That requires a lot of thinking, huh?
Yes, and it went through. First we said why, then maybe he doesn't know the answers, maybe he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't care for us, this, that. But as the teachings went on, if you listen, if you are in tune with what is being told, then you will realize yourself that questions are unnecessary. Because what is being talked about is to shift your attention to yourself. Then a point comes, why does someone need to tell me how to shift attention to myself? I am the one who is giving attention and I want to put the attention on myself. These two things are not separate.
No.
They are not separate. It's like make the eyes see themselves. The eye is also me and the seeing also is the eyes. Why does a third person needs to come in between? Or the words need to come in between? So they become a corruption between me and myself, isn't it? The thought is a corruption. It is keeping me separate from myself, the thought. And when this clicked, now you have to take this and sit with it and feel, allow the impact of that statement to take you over, to take over you. See, from that moment all our questions went away. We knew that we are so much in tune that whatever, if Without our choice, a question is appearing in the mind, and it did appear. But we had the patience that in the next class or the nature will bring the answer to it. From where the question has come, the answer will also come. And it used to come
Yes, without you having to ask.
without having to ask,
Yeah, that's right.
without having to fret over it, without having to seek the answer.
That happened to me years ago. We used to say, oh, years ago, every time I get a question about this, I go down and find the answers at the next Sunday.
Yet she keeps asking questions.
Oh, well, yeah, I know.
That's okay. I'm just, but
No,
understand the whole picture that is being presented here. So this is the way that questions can only be about that which you are not. But once you recognize who you are, then there can be no questions. Because questions can be about theories, questions can be about ideas, questions can be about concepts, question can be about something that is which is in the nature, and nature is always changing, and no questions about the nature can ever be conclusive.
no.
Correct?
So is that.
Right?
Yes.
But are you a concept? Is self a concept?
No.
Is divinity a concept? Therefore, no question is required to be asked about it. It is your own essential nature. Questions are only about the phenomena. And no question of phenomena can ever give you a conclusive answer. There are theories which can settle your mind, but they will not settle. It will still not settle completely until and unless the mind does not merge back into its own source. The seeker doing sadhana is a concept, a struggling of the individuality. The truth can only be known that way only by devaluing all experiences, good and bad. How many times have they come and gone, but they have no permanency other than I, the substratum. Other than non dual pure existence, nothing else is. So everything has changed in our life, and it is your experience also that everything that I see, I hear, I touch, I feel, I think, I taste, I imagine, I conceptualize, I am angry, I am happy, I am jealous. Everything is changing, but the I remains the same. And what are our questions? And that I is not a thought. I is you. You can have questions on jealousy, you can have questions on thinking, you can have questions about the world. But who am I is one question. Ask that question, if at all, if you are courageous enough, ask that question and be ready for the answer to reveal itself. But if you are seeking the answer in the mind for that question, you are knocking on the wrong door. You are again knocking on the world to give you an answer to the question, who am I? How can the world give an answer to your nature? The self is the answer to itself, isn't it? And self is other than the mind. How can the mind give an answer to the question? It cannot. How there is no separateness between the seer and the seen is expressed beautifully in the next OV. Teth drushya drashta bhare drashte pan drushyayi sare mazi donhi na honi ure donhi che sacha. There the seen has entered the seer. The seer has disappeared in the seen. What remains thereafter is none of them but the essence of them. Everything in this world exists, isn't it true? I exist, camera exists, laptop exists, this house exists, you exist, This universe exists. Existence is the substratum. Agree? How do you know it all exists? I know that this body exists. I know that you exist. So this I exist and I know I exist. This existence is also I am, and this knowing also I am. See? And so is true about everything. Everything is pervaded by that one existence alone. But where is our attention? Not on that existence. Our attention is on the form. Our attention is on the shapes. Our attention is on the words. Not on the substratum.
Does that matter though if you know the substratum or you still got to act and
Let it happen. But you don't take the ownership of acting.
No, that's what I mean.
So you don't. Yes. So it does matter to know the substratum.
Yeah.
Because without knowing the substratum, there is only one
Identification
expression
of
possible.
all this and getting into
You will
trouble.
exactly. If you don't know the substratum, the only other option is you take ownership of it. You become the doer. See? So it is important to know the substratum. It is important to be and come to that conclusion while living. The seer and the seen exist in relation to each other, and therefore whether the seer has seen the seen or the seen has gone into the seer, the result is the same, namely that the seer has become one with the seen. Tagore has said in one of his poems that there was once a cow on a meadow, and she grazed and grazed and grazed till she became the grass. In other words, come to correctly cognize that you are not the body, you are not the breath, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are the conscious principle, and keep brooding on that pure consciousness that you are. Keep brooding on the life that is expressing through you at this moment. Keep brooding. Brooding does not require thinking. Keep brooding. Keep interacting with who you are in spite of the thoughts. Meaning, another word is, keep putting attention on the self. Automatically it will become self-evident. It is, the statement is, in Bhagavad Gita it says, as you think, so you become. As you think, so you become. If you keep thinking, I am a good person, you will become a good person. If you think I am a bad person, I will become a bad person. If I think that I am an angry person, I am not angry, I am not angry, I am not angry, I will become angry. Even if I am saying I am not angry, I will become angry, because the focus is on anger. So if I keep saying and thinking, I am the self, I am the self, I am the self, not mechanically, but with deep faith, with deep love, with deep commitment and conviction, then the mind will which it is nothing but the self alone, a realization will come about. Meaning, the thinking will stop and the mind will merge into the divinity. Just like you keep thinking of the sleep and the mind gets merged into the sleep, isn't it? It gets sucked into the sleep. Similarly, that mind which is thinking of the truth, of the reality, of the divinity, when it single-pointedly thinking about it, it gets sucked into the reality. It becomes one. Similarly, the seer and the seen. When the seer and seen, the seer keeps thinking about the scene, like a boy keeps thinking about the beautiful girl, he wants to be one with her. Isn't it? My life is nothing without her. And he starts imagining the whole thing, and eventually, if he is focused enough, he will be with her, and the vice versa.
That's how magic's done, isn't it?
Pardon me?
That's how magic's done.
True, absolutely. See, the whole universe is a magic. It is a miracle. See, and therefore here it is told that their duality, their separateness, their independent existence disappears. Thereafter, the substratum, the reality, the essence of both is discovered to be one. The seer and the seen are expressions of the same truth. When a husband and wife come together, they fall in love, they feel as one, isn't it? In that union. When you are eating something, till you have not eaten it, it is separate to you. But once it comes onto you, the eater, and the eaten, they become one. And there is no difference or separateness between you two. See? Whenever something beautiful is seen, the eyes are seeing something beautiful and they become so focused that the seer and the seen become one. Another, it's not a complete term, but empathy is like that. You start feeling what the other person is feeling, isn't it? See, and that cannot happen just by thinking. It requires the heart also. Only then empathy can be experienced or compassion can be experienced. But we are going even further than that. Thus, in the eternal game of experience, when one gets identified with something that is not existing at all, the world is understood as the reality. When one gets identified with something that is not existing at all, the world is understood to be the reality. Because we are not focused on ourselves, because we don't know who we are, there's only one avenue for our mind to go. What is that? The world. And we think this world is real and it holds all the answers. But if you look back into your life, has it held any answers? Have you got any conclusive answers till now from the world? About anything? The closest we can come to answers is coming to the Vedas, to the Upanishads, to the text like this. But as long as these words in the text, the words of the Master, are only interacted with, and what they are indicating is not grasped, we cannot, still the conclusion will not come. The substratum is the reality, not the continuity between one individual into an individual trio and the next individual trio. In other words, each trio of seer, seen, seeing is the reality. The substratum is also the reality, but the relationship between one trio and another which gives rise to individuality is the illusion. What do we say mind is? Consciousness with thoughts is mind. What is ocean? Water with waves is ocean, isn't it? Because, so are waves anything else other than the water? Are waves anything else other than the water? No. Is water in spite of presence and absence of waves? Yes.
So there's
Now
not-
take the same way.
Yeah.
Consciousness is in spite of thinking or not thinking. Consciousness remains consciousness whether you are thinking or you are not thinking, whether there are thoughts or there are no thoughts, consciousness always is. And are thoughts somewhere else and the consciousness is somewhere else? No. On the waters the waves come, and waves are nothing but water. On the consciousness thoughts come, thoughts are nothing but consciousness, essentially. So recognize, now this is a very a turning point, that the mind is nothing but consciousness. Then what is Maya? What is the illusion? What is the illusion? The continuity, not identification.
Continuity.
That one wave is connected to another wave, the second wave is connected to the third wave is connected to the fourth wave. This continuity is the illusion.
What do you mean?
Not to your
Do you
thoughts.
continue your dream every day? Do you continue your dream every day? So you dream a dream and you drop it and it's over. You don't say, I want to continue from where I left last night in the dream. My wife was very beautiful, my husband was very beautiful, my children were very, they were obedient and caring. You don't say that. You don't even remember what you dreamt last night. But in the waking, we want to continue yesterday into today, today into tomorrow.
We
Just
trade
like
it.
we wake up from the dream every day, we also vanish from the waking also every day, isn't it? We go into dream from the waking, or we go into sleep from the waking. So waking has a certain period of existence and then it goes away. Just like dream has a period of existence and then it goes away.
So the
Right or not?
Yes, that's right.
But in dream, we don't imagine the continuity. In the waking, we imagine the continuity.
So it's imagined, the continuity is imagined in the waking state.
And that is the ego. That is the individuality. That is the individuality.
So the memory that the ego hangs
Whoa,
on to
all that is
causes the continuity.
Yes, all that is because we are giving value to the world. The more we come back to the self, this continuity will lose its hold over us. But you look at it, if you take one step back and look at your life, there is no continuity. What was yesterday is not today. It's already changed. You have changed, your thoughts have changed, your age has changed, but you don't see that change because everything is happening very slowly. Just like when you put the culture in a warm milk and leave it all night, you don't see the warm milk becoming curds. But next morning you will find curd. But if you sit there looking at it, you will not see it turning into curd. You don't see your children growing. But they are growing every moment. You don't see yourself getting old, but you are getting old every moment.
I look in the mirror, I soon find out. I was going to
So,
say
so everything is changing.
but if it didn't change, there wouldn't be any continuity.
But that is the nature of the phenomena.
That is the nature of that.
That is the nature of phenomena.
If there wasn't any change,
Can we say,
it would disappear.
no,
Nothing
can we
would
say
disappear.
if there are no waves, water is not there?
No.
So you are going in the wrong direction. No, you are going in the wrong direction now. We are talking from the point of view of truth. You are going into the continuity. I am not using continuity to prove continuity. I am talking about continuity, that continuity is an illusion. Truth is the only one. Continuity is an illusion. Every day we are having waking dream, deep sleep, waking dream, deep sleep. Does that mean that they are continuous? No, they are not continuous. Because continuous means that waking is there, continuously waking is there. There is no dream and deep sleep to disturb.
So there's no break.
There's no break.
The
But
way
that is not the way.
It's all there is.
Exactly, but that is not the way.
No.
It's a continuous cycle. It's a continuous cycle.
Yes.
But we think that it is continuous. We think Monday to Sunday we live and then next day again Monday. Oh, it's a continuous going on.
Yes.
No, it is not. Monday doesn't come and continue to be Monday all the time. No, Monday goes away to bring, allow Tuesday to express. And then after 1 week of cycle, again Monday comes. But that does not make it continuous. It is a phenomena. Who is observing this phenomena is the continuous.
But the individual.
So
phenomenon,
coming, the individual is not the expression of the body, breath, mind, intellect, the universe is the phenomena.
Yeah.
To imagine that these are continuous principles, that this is the reality, is the phenomena, is our mistake. And we get caught up in that trap and then try to seek salvation. Think. In this way, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is trying to help the seeker to be alert in the mind without conceptualizing to destroy the earlier concepts and not permit any new ones to be formed. So what is spirituality? Spirituality is destruction of all that you have known till now about the world, about the Lord, about the total and about the individual, and not allow any new concept to be formed. Because truth, pure consciousness, reality is not a concept. It is your essential nature. And that alone is pervading the entire universe. Just like water is alone pervading the entire waves. And if each wave is an individual, then consciousness is the only thing that is pervading everything and everyone and every being in this universe. There is nothing else other than that. Then why are we not able to perceive it, experience it? Because our attention is on this imagined continuity. And where is this imagined continuity? Not out there in the world. It is in your mind. You connect one thought to the next thought. You connect one waker, today's waker to tomorrow's waker. You connect that the husband that yesterday this man was my husband and today also he is the same person. But he's already changed. This imagination of continuity is the illusion. Now just allow it to sink in. Don't try to question it. Don't try to overanalyze it. Instead, shift your attention to the truth. No point of seeking the phenomena and answers from. Phenomena cannot be understood. Cannot be understood. It appears, what can you do? It appears. It will continue to appear. Even a realized master continues to experience the phenomena. But he doesn't take ownership of it. He doesn't get identified with it. And the phenomena is not the world. The phenomena is the continuity of thoughts. Because one thought connecting to the other is what creates the continuity. So empty your mind. Everywhere in yoga it is told chitta vritti nirodha iti yoga. Empty your mind. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. After emptying your mind, put the attention on the self. Oh, mind is empty. How can I put attention on the self? How can I be aware of the self? That is the way.
I should ask that.
That is the way. Because self doesn't require a thought to know itself, you see.
So there's no strain.
Because the quality of the eye is to see. Do you know? Do the eyes see? Yes. Can you see the eyes? No. But do you know that the eyes are seeing? Yes. So if you can't see that the eyes are seeing, how do you know the eyes are seeing? See? This is the same situation with the consciousness. The consciousness is illuminating everything, is expressing as everything in the phenomena. Do you know the consciousness? No. And yes, because I am that, I can see that the mind alone is becoming everything. All the thoughts are coming in the mind. Can you see the mind? No, I don't see the mind. Nobody has seen the mind. Where will you search the mind? Mind is nothing but consciousness. See, because of our identification with the thoughts, we have created two things, consciousness and mind. But actually speaking, once we transcend that thinking, then we realize everything is nothing but consciousness.
Yeah, when you say thoughts are in consciousness, that explains it, doesn't it?
Say that again.
When you say that thoughts are, everything is in consciousness,
As consciousness.
as consciousness.
In
That's why
consciousness,
there's
as consciousness.
no duality there.
No duality
That's
there.
the wonder.
So like wave is in the water as the water. Ice also is in the water as the water only, water alone, but is in a frozen state. So body is like that ice block. It is consciousness, but in a frozen state. And why is it frozen? Because of the conditioning of space and time. So it is consciousness frozen in space and time, which gives rise to a form. Think about it.
I have thought about it, and I wonder about that because the consciousness expresses itself in all things. In other words, it seems to other itself, or it remains itself.
All the time.
That's fantastic.
It is fascinating.
It's
It's wondrous.
I never get over that stops thinking for me immediately when I start.
So
seeing that.
if that works for you, keep coming back to that point, that all your thinking stops. Thinking like this, the more you expose your mind to this type of thoughts which bring about cessation of all thought, everything will undo itself. The whole phenomena will undo itself.
Because it's something that I can't answer that. That's
You can't answer. You can't answer.
I can't see how the self others itself becomes all this.
And yet it is happening.
Remains itself.
And remains itself.
Yeah,
And yet it is happening.
You know,
And yet it is happening.
it's a mirror.
The only way we can say is by some examples, but then those like the example of water and wave, but then it has to made subjective, that oh my God, really that infinite consciousness is expressing as thoughts, which is one wave. Many thoughts are many waves. The emotions are also known as by way of thought only. The breath is also known by way of thought only. Bodies are thought only. Space, air, fire, water are also thought only. Everything that we know is only by way of thoughts, isn't it? So all thoughts are nothing but pure consciousness, existing in pure consciousness, as pure consciousness, but we are unaware of it at the moment. And how will we come to know? By being the pure consciousness. Then alone this transformed vision will come about.
John Eccles, the great scientist.
Who?
He's John Eccles. He's a scientist, and he says the more and more I look and sort of analyse all this business down here, he said the more the universe appears as a giant thought.
As a giant thought, true.
Yeah. True. I don't know whether he knows anything about Vedanta, but I thought that
No,
was
but
pretty
Vedanta is nothing to do with Hinduism. Vedanta has got nothing to do just with India. Vedanta is a knowledge which is naturally expressing through everyone. Because Vedanta is the self. Vedanta is not a concept. Vedanta is not the ideas that are presented in the book. Vedanta means the reality. Where the words end is Vedanta.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
Where the words end, that is Vedanta. And that is your essential nature. So anyone from any part of this planet or in this universe can access that if they are available to it. If they are available, because they are already that. Live in the present moment, then alone one is with the eternal presence. To live in the past or the future is to fall from the absolute glory to the relative individuality. To live in the past or in the future. The truth can be apprehended, the truth can be abided in only in the present moment, in the now, in the utter present. And therefore, again and again, the scriptures, the masters keep guiding us. Stop talking about your past, stop dwelling on your past, let bygones be bygones, nothing can be done about them. Instead, refocus what you want to be, who you essentially are, if you are a spiritual seeker. Because the more you think about the past, the more you will find out what you could have done, what you should not have done, and you will get caught up in that, and your self-confidence will be drained away. You will go into your own sadness, despair.
You know, when you told
People talk about, oh Swamiji, if I had listened to you, I should have invested at that time and I would have made $1 million on that property. But did you? No. Then what's the point of talking about it now?
Exactly.
What's the point? So if you did not listen that time and did not make the profit, now listen. Contemplate on the self and become the master of the world. Don't ask questions, but, why, how. No, just do it. Just be.
Can I say something? I'm sorry about that.
Saying is okay, questioning is not.
No. I was just going to say I found, well, you should know as being my teacher that where I seem to be heading,
Yes.
like the changes that are happening sort of thing. And I found that what's happening with me now is, you once said to me, don't give your power away. And I find that I'm sort of now saying, stop everybody trying to tell me what to do. How do they know any better than me anyhow, or anybody else? And there's a whole lot of just settling down into myself, being sort of...
But say stuff everybody with compassion.
Yeah, well, no, but
And I'll add one more thing to it. It is a good thing. I am also like that. Who cares? That attitude. But it should be, that attitude should be towards our thoughts also. Not just the outside world. Because the whole outside world is only appearing in our mind as thoughts.
Oh, that's coming as well.
It is happening. Very good.
That's happening a lot now. But I mean, people telling you on the wireless, coffee's good this week, it's not good next week.
It
People
happens.
saying you should be like this. you should feel
Phenomena
this,
is
that.
there. I have to go vegetable shopping. I have to go to give lectures. I also feel sometimes someone is sleeping in the class, sometimes someone is very alert in the class, sometimes the children are disturbing, sometimes they are not disturbing. Do I keep reacting to all this, or I just do what has to be done?
That's it, yeah.
You maintain the equanimity within. Don't allow the world to disturb you. By their thought, word and deed, don't allow the world to be disturbed, yourself to be disturbed by the world. But at the same time, you don't disturb the world also by a thought, word and deed. That is important.
By a thought.
Word and deed. So action takes place at these three levels. At the body level, at the speech level, and at the thought level. Action means movement. So thoughts continuously change, movement. Words keep coming out, movement. Body keeps moving, movement.
Yes. The harmony between thought, word and deed. is
So
important.
as you think, so you speak, so you act in life,
Otherwise
is
you
the
would conflict
integrated
with yourself.
approach. So and that cannot happen by you focusing on the actions of the body. You have to, that resolve must come in the mind. Then the mouth speaks what the resolution is in the mind, that my thought, word and deed must be an integrated approach. They must reflect what I am thinking. Thinking cannot reflect what you are doing. Doing at the body level or at the speech level, it reflects what you are thinking. Subtle expresses as gross. Gross doesn't express as subtle. This is the effect. Speech and the body actions at the level of body are the effects of the cause, the thinking, isn't it? So change your thoughts, your actions will change.
What if there's a bit of resentment in there?
That will affect, that will come across in your speech. That will come across in your actions. If you are alert about it and do not, what do you call, fan it, that means do not give attention to it, then it will dissolve itself after some time. It can happen in one moment, or it can, but if you, oh, I'm feeling resentful, this is not right, you are giving more attention to it. Remain equanimous, remain undisturbed. Truth has to be absolute presence. Even a trace of relative experience will destroy its absoluteness. Anything less than 100% truth cannot be but falsehood, untruth. Even one iota of thought is there, of separation is there, a doubt is there, a question is there, we don't know the truth. So don't live in an imagination that I have come to know the truth, that I am the truth. As much as that statement may be true, but your experience is not reflecting that. It's only an intellectual conviction. When it is a direct experience, then your whole approach to life will be different. Whole approach to life, everyone that you have hated or disliked, that energy will not be there at all after that. There will be no attachment to anything whatsoever after that. In the next OV, a beautiful thought is expressed that wherever and whenever the seer and the seen establish their contact, the seeing happens, in which both of them dissolve their separate existence and become one pure self. This is a highly contemplative verse. What I was telling you before. The seer, the eye, has to see that form. Without this union of seer and seen, knowledge will not take place. See? Can the eyes see anything if there is nothing to see? Can eyes see anything if there is nothing to see? Can mind think anything if there are no thoughts? Can the ears hear anything if there is nothing to hear?
No.
See? So this is the first chapter or second chapter that we did, Shravya Shakti Samavesh. The continuous interaction with the seer and the seen, hearer and the heard. Hearer is born only because there is heard. Shiva is Shiva only because Shakti is there. Husband is husband only because wife is there. Wife is wife because husband is there. It's a union of the two. One cannot exist independently. See? So, because there are two, are they really two? Because there are many waves, are there many waves? Actually, it is one water. You see? So, this hearer and heard, this seer and seen, they appear to be two, but actually they are one. That one appearing as two. Just like I am one, but I express as son, teacher, brother, etc., etc. Different. But because I am expressing as many, have I become many? No. Similarly, I am the one, the pure consciousness, but this pure consciousness is now expressing as the seer and the seen, the hearer and the heard, the taster and the tasted, the smeller and the smelt, the feeler and the felt. Because we have this is a very gross experience, isn't it? But because this experience is there, has the consciousness become many? Has the bifurcation in the consciousness taken place? It appearing that way, but actually it is one. So it is that one itself who has become the seer, and that one itself which has become the seen. So it is playing with itself. See, this is the Leela. That one alone has become two and it is playing with itself.
That's the Trinity of Christianity. But
Absolutely,
they
absolutely.
do not express it that way, and nobody
No.
seems to know what it means.
Yes.
Weird.
With this knowledge of Vedanta, you can redefine all scriptures.
I know. Wonderful.
Whether it is Hinduism, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, anything. It gives you, it's not that, it gives you a clear understanding of what all the nuances are behind the verses in all the scriptures. See?
It's weird, isn't it? They all go to church to learn this stuff, or wherever they go, their little whatever, and nobody really knows what they're going there for, or what they're teaching, or what
They're
it's
told
all
that you have to
about.
believe this. And that's it. You
No,
have to
because
believe this.
the problem
explain.
the problem is that go to any temple, church or mosque, the priests themselves don't know what they are talking about.
No, that's right.
They are just being parrots to what is written there, and without having contemplated on the truth. How can you do justice to the truth? How can you do justice to the words? In the world there are many people who will talk on Gita, but how many people talk on Gita and bring out the essence of the Gita in its true sense? You see, that will depend upon your sadhana, your meditation, your contemplation. That will help you. It will automatically express out of you, because your attention is not on the verses of the Gita, but your attention is on, while studying the verses, your attention is on what it is indicating. See? And not through, out of fanatism, but it is out of faith, it is out of understanding, and you are understanding the impact of that knowledge and the
Love.
responsibility that it brings about.
You can't leave love out of that. It's just the,
No, absolutely.
It's the love of this, whatever we're seeking.
Faith is
It's
love.
just going to find
Absolutely,
out the
absolutely.
other
Another word for it is unconditional love.
Then
You don't love because you want something from it. It is your nature. And when that becomes evident to you, then how can you fight? How can you kill? How can you what do you call, hate anyone? You cannot. What is the time?
Papa asked.
9:30.
We just do one more verse. भग भलतेथ भलते भा माझारिले दृश्य दृष्टत्व भावा आटणी करीत येखे वा येती दोन्ही. Then any time and anywhere, by reducing the relationship between the seerness and the seenness, they both embrace each other. Wherever, that is in space, and whenever, that is in time, that is in every place and at every moment, the seerness and the seenness, the experiencerness and the experiencedness, the drishtatva bhava and the drishtutro bhava revert back. It seems as if they withdraw as being separate from each other and become one in being oneness alone. This withdrawal is one of the methods of meditation. The Kathopanishad describes it thus: let the wise sink his speech into the mind into the intellect into the great Atman, total intellect, and the great Atman into the Shanta Atman, the Supreme Self. Another way of telling it is just like we saw it in one of the chapters in this book itself, where the cross speech is merged into the subtle speech, the subtle speech into the causal speech back into its the unmanifest, and the unmanifest into its the conscious unmanifest. How many words are many, isn't it? But what happens here, the word and what it is expressing are separate, or what it is talking about. So, for example, the word joy and the word Louis is in my mouth, but what it is indicating is outside. So, there is a speaker and a spoken of. They are separate. See? But when we come to Madhyama, do a little bit sadhana, do a little bit of contemplation. What is the seer and seen, is the experiencer and experienced, are they separate? And you shift your attention to that one slowly. When you come to this point, your whole experience of the gross world will become zero, and you go into the subtle world, and there you find that the thought of joy and Louis is in the mind, and the form of Louis and joy is also in the mind. So the thought and that which is indicated by the thought, both are in the mind alone. See? Whereas in the gross world, there is a disparity, there is a difference. In the subtle world, the mind alone becomes the two. When you go into the further maturity is developed, as you sink or contemplate deeper, the word and that which is indicating, they both merge into one and become zero in the causal state. But what is that zero supported by? The consciousness. And it goes back to that is recognized. So this is the journey. So whether you take the chanting that was told in this chapter, here Swamiji is indicating the Kathopanishad, both are telling you the same thing. That this phenomena, that is experience, this experience that we are having of something, seer, seen, hearing, heard, experiencer, experienced, knower, known, all this, when they go back to their source, they become one. The difference between the two as if ceases to exist. The whole knowledge which is expressing as the knower known knowing is totally sucked in, wherein the knower known seer seen difference disappears. This sucking in is the process of meditation. What is meditation? What is samadhi? What is going into a trance? Or I shouldn't use the word trance, but what is being that you totally are undisturbed, mind is empty, you are with yourself? Exactly. What happens to all the thoughts in your mind when you go to sleep? They get sucked into the nothingness, isn't it? And you can feel it when the sleep has come. Is you want to continue to be in a conversation, but something from inside is pulling you in.
It's awful when you feel so tired and you're trying to talk, to speak to someone, you can't.
And it can happen when you are in a satsang also.
Yes, we know all about it.
So you are listening, what is happening? You are contemplating on the thoughts that are being told, mind is slowing down, and your attention is on what the words are indicating, but you are not steady on it. And suddenly in between, the sucking takes place, and you are no more alert after that. In meditation, you have to be alert. In sleep, you don't have to be alert. So if you remain awake and allow the mind to be sucked, right now in class also, no problem. But If you are not alert and your mind gets sucked, sometimes the pull is very deep. It just pulls in, eyes automatically close. But if at that time you are not alert that this is taking place, you will fall into sleep. That's all there is to it. Now, what is to be practiced then? Extreme alertness. Extreme alertness comes only when we are inspired. Only when we are inspired, extreme alertness comes. When we are joyfully interacting with whatever we are doing, alertness comes. But if you take it mechanically, I have heard this has happened before, I have thought about this before, I have come to these conclusions before, then you are comparing and then it will take you to sleep. Because no knowledge can ever be repeated in this creation. Every moment is a fresh moment. So even though we have heard it before, but how we heard it before
Different
is different to what it is now.
Yes, right.
But you are imagining a continuity. I have heard it before. See how we fall into the trap
Yep,
of
yes,
continuity?
that's right.
Then sleep comes.
I had the cheek to ask Paramananda a question. I only asked him that. And I said, Swami, how do you stay awake during meditation? Stop sleep. He said, stop breathing.
But it is true. If you try that, and we used to do it. Because we used to attend 6-7 classes a day with him. Initially your capacity to remain awake is not that much. Because we are coming from the world into that environment. Yes, we are self-inspired, motivated to go there, but it's a long day.
Yes.
You are tired, exhausted, mentally and physically. Because you are thinking, you are contemplating. And when the contemplation is outwards, you are dealing with the thoughts to contemplate.
Yes.
It will make you tired.
Yes.
When your contemplation is on the self, then sleep does not come. So that time, either we used to take the saliva, put it on our eyes, immediately you will become awake,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that little point. That
or you breathe out and don't breathe in for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Immediately wakefulness will come.
When you're deep in meditation, though, you're not aware of the body, your surroundings, or anything else. As far as I know, you're not breathing. I don't know whether you are or not. I suppose you are, but you're not aware of whether you are or not.
probably only very slightly.
Anyway.
Initially, it is like that, but we must be aware of everything. We must be aware of everything. If you are unaware of your body, of where you are, everything, then you're gone to sleep. Then it is not
Well, I'd like
meditation.
you to sleep, but I'm awake in my sleep in that case.
No,
because
sometimes
I'm
you become awake. You can become, sometimes it happens, sometimes you become awake, but again you go back to sleep. So meditation is where you are absolutely aware of everything in spite of zero thought in the mind. If it is not so, and you come out of meditation and you realize, oh, I had a very deep, I don't know where I was, you had gone to sleep.
Would that be a state of samadhi rather than meditation?
Samadhi is meditation.
Yes.
Samadhi is meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation is it's not the topic here.
No,
it is with
no.
thoughts and without thoughts.
Yeah.
So right now you can say, for all means and purposes, you are in meditation. You are thinking.
Yes.
There are thoughts. The only focus is the self for last 1.5 hours. So you are in meditation. We are having questions, we are discussing, but continuously our thought is on the self.
Yeah.
We are bringing our minds again and again to the self. We are in meditation.
It's the first I've heard that one.
We are in meditation. It's called open-eyed meditation.
That's constant.
So you don't need to close our eyes. We can be in meditation even while we are working in the world.
Yes.
We don't have to close our eyes. When when we are in our own environment, in our house, in a temple, in a church, and if naturally, as a natural consequence, a call comes from within to close our eyes and sit in silence, that is also meditation, as long as we don't go to sleep. See? Being in awareness, being in awareness of the self, whether you are awake, whether you are asleep, that means mind is asleep, or you are functioning in the world, you can be in meditation. Kabir Das, a great saint in Varanasi, he used to chant Ram, 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 and he was a weaver. So, khatak, 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 that machine is going on, handmade.
Right.
And with each khatak, khatak, Ram, 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 got realized. Got realized. So that because he got realized, he didn't stop being a weaver. He didn't say, now I got horns, now I am a realized person, now I must do something different. That is a joke.
Yes, yes,
Because then a desire is coming that I want to be different. I want to be
I'm more important.
more important than others.
I've realised
I'm
how
realised.
important I am.
See?
Now you've got to watch that one too, I tell you.
Yes.
You do, otherwise you're just so inflated about this whole thing that you're really not in it.
See, this meditation is done by being alert, very alert in every place. See, automatically the same thought is getting reflected here. In every place, in every situation, to watch ourselves in this trio of experiencer, experience and experiencing. So, continuously thoughts are coming. The thoughts are a product of the three interacting with each other: knower, known, knowing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing, seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing. They are continuously coming and going. Do you know them? Yes. Be that one who knows that the thoughts are coming and going. Even while I speak,
Yeah.
even while you hear, right here and now. Therefore, we can be in meditation. To see if one is giving undue importance to any of the three components of the trio with reference to oneself, whether one is giving too much importance to one's own experience and not to that of others, whether the attention is to all the three aspects simultaneously or not. So if you give any importance to one or the other, to the knower, the ego will increase. To the known, more delusion. To the instrument, attachment to the body and the mind and the thoughts. But if you give attention to the total thought, then again you are caught up. Be the one in whose presence the thoughts are coming and going. Because only when the seer and seen aspects come into contact at the same time, the seeing, the experience takes place and the two disappear. Only when the eater and the eaten, when they come together, then the experiencer goes away, the duality goes away. The moment that sweetmeat comes on your tongue, all desire, all thought of that sweetmeat goes away from your mind because it has become one with you. See? Therefore, let us enjoy without becoming the enjoyer. During respiration, air goes in and comes out. At the junction, it is only air, neither going nor coming. In the same way, the pure self, when it goes out, it is knower, known knowledge. When it is withdrawn, this difference is gone. This is eternally going on and you are watching that, you know that. What do you know? That there is a thought, then there is a gap. then there is a thought, then there is a gap, then there is a thought, then there is a gap, isn't it? When there is a thought, the consciousness has become knower known knowledge, knowing, seer seen seeing, seer seen seeing, whichever way the thought is coming. But how long will that thought remain? For some time, then it will go away. There is a gap in between. What has happened in that gap? The trio has been sucked back into its source. It has become unmanifest. Then again it has become manifest. Sometimes it is a seer, sometimes it is a hearer, sometimes it is the experiencer, sometimes it is the knower. So in this way, recognize. And your example that is given is with the breath. There is out breath, there is in breath. But where the point where the out breath is becoming in breath, there is a juncture. What is there? It is neither in breath nor out breath. Then it is only breath, and only the air. You be that. Neither coming in. So the gap is coming back to the source. Appearance of a thought is that source manifesting as knower known knowledge. So don't be the gap, don't be the expression of the thought. You are the observer in whose presence this recognition is taking place, that there is a thought, there is a gap, there is a thought, there is a gap. And all this manifestation is a phenomena which has come out of, which is the expression of the self alone, because I am all that there is. See? See, I am all that there is. I can't run away from anything because everything I am. So let us go back. The seer and the seen end up in their own absence. They have separate existence only so long as the seer and the seen do not come together. Till then, the desire of the experiencer to experience the experience will remain. Once the contact between the experiencer and the object of experience is established, the desire for the experienced will disappear once and for all, because in the absolute being, desire is not possible, the truth is revealed. This is one way of doing your meditation. You have desire for whom? Desire for the self. Can self have any desire? No. Yet you have a desire. Who has a desire? The mind has the desire. It keeps as long as it is desiring and it has not got what it wants, till then the duality will remain. But a point will come where the desire, the mind will get sucked into the consciousness, just like mind gets sucked into the sleep, then the desire for sleep goes away. Isn't it? And that's your experience every night. Similarly, on the seat of meditation, why do you go to the seat of meditation? With the desire to be with yourself. And when you come somewhere along the way, whatever exercise, sadhana you are doing, exercise you are, technique you are practicing, the mind gets sucked into the self. Over. Then when you are in meditation, do you still say, I want to be the self, I want to be the self? No, you stop. After you go to sleep, do you say, I want to sleep, I want to sleep? You don't say that. So the desirer and the desired both vanish into their own source. They become one. And that one is our essential nature. And this way we come back to our original self. The other is when the seer is not at all concerned with the experienced object lose its existence, the trio is no more functioning. So the other way is that you be indifferent to whatever is being experienced. So if I don't want the world to impact my mind, I become indifferent to the world. This is second technique. And by being indifferent, what happens? The world is unable to influence my mind after a continued practice. World meaning not just the world out there. I can do the same thing. Mind is also the world. So I remain indifferent to the thoughts in my mind. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, exciting thoughts, ugly thoughts, hateful thoughts, loving thoughts, I remain indifferent to them. Because I have come to conclusion, thoughts take me away from myself. I want to be the one because of whom, in whose presence the thoughts come and go. So I remain equanimous. I remain
Takes practice.
absolutely practice. So you remain indifferent. In Panchadashi, the thought of Tushnim Bhav came. That is what it is. Remain indifferent. Remain indifferent. The more you remain indifferent, the impact, the thought gets life only when you give value and attention to it.
That's true enough, isn't it?
You will respond to me only if I give value and attention to you. If I remain indifferent after some time, you will speak for some time. When you see there is no response, you will keep quiet or you will go away.
Aha.
Same thing happens here also. If we give attention and value to the thoughts, they will pursue us. If I become indifferent to the thoughts will die their own death. That means they will go away. Where they go away, that's not your concern. They'll go back where they came from. See?
What about you saying, and when we've talked about it, when you are indifferent and somebody is needle, and they're not getting any reaction, so they tried in every which way they can to get that, and all of a sudden, whoomph, and you're gone. What's happened there?
You have lost your balance.
You react.
You have reacted. You have allowed their needling to affect you.
But I think I'm going all right. You know, it sort of comes from nowhere, you know.
Well, because that is a auto response maybe. So even if that response has taken place,
You don't give up.
you don't get disturbed from inside. You understand, you watch that this response has happened. Don't take ownership of it. If a mosquito bites, do you think I have to now go and scratch? Automatically the hand goes and settles it, isn't it? Same thing at a gross level. If someone is, so imagine that needling is mosquito bite, automatic response.
What is it?
But the more you give importance to that disturbance, the more it will pursue you. The more you give importance to the equanimity, the awareness, then that will become your natural state.
And that's where we create our own mind, our own suffering, our own everything, isn't it? From
We don't
identifying
create.
with
We
all that
don't
stuff.
create anything. It is a phenomena. It happens. If you take again, if you say,
Ownership of it,
if you
yeah.
say we create, you are taking ownership, and then you will get caught up in that. Because is the language which is programming ourselves, isn't it? And this is the language that we use to deprogram ourselves.
We've all got different temperaments and we all react depending on what experiences we've had long ago in other lives, whatever. We'll respond differently, won't we, from one another?
No problem.
True.
I forget the question I was going to ask now. I was in the middle of it and I've forgotten what I was going to say.
We all respond differently, true,
Yeah.
because that is how each person is unique.
That's right.
Each person is made up of their impressions, their own character and their
Yeah.
own
Their genes,
values
their
and
upbringing,
whatever,
But
genes,
I know what I was
etc.
going to ask. Now, this happens and say this reaction. So we have to sort of, as you say, observe this as happening and not sort of react to our own way we're behaving and
Correct,
be disappointed with ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because that's what I find. You know.
So after some, and the more you practice that,
Yes.
without feeling the guilt, why did I behave that way?
Yeah, that's right. That's what gets us.
Remain equanimous inside.
Yes.
Understand, this is the leftover behavior. After
Yes.
some time, this will also settle
Yes.
down.
So it'll
Whether
take its
the
course,
other
won't it?
person, whether the world settles or not, but I know the whole world is in my mind, If my mind settles down,
Yes.
and my mind will settle down only when I stop giving value and attention to the thoughts that is coming, that are appearing as a result of the phenomena in the mind. Stop taking ownership of it.
We've asked
So,
us if-
so there are responses, auto responses.
Yes.
Let there be auto responses.
Yes. Don't get caught up in.
And if you're not caught up in it,
Yes.
you can be angry with someone, you can have a good argument with someone, and very next moment you are absolutely normal.
Yes.
But if there is ownership, then that displeasure will continue, linger for half a day, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days.
Yes. So that reaction will come because of it's still pre-programmed sort of thing. that
Correct,
you're up-
absolutely.
But I'm not creating it though.
So don't take ownership because it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mustn't feel too
Why it is happening? Because you have collected those type of impressions
Yes.
while you were taking ownership.
Yes, that's right. Continuing.
But now you have learned a different way that I can live my life without taking ownership.
Yes. Yes.
So it is initially it will be a little bit hard, no doubt,
Yes.
but we have to keep at it because it gives us the doorway to be free in spite of what is around.
Yes. So we have to deal with these impressions.
We don't have to deal with them.
No.
No.
You have to be indifferent to them.
Different. Yes. Yes. That's how we cope with it. Yeah.
We have to be indifferent to them.
In other words, we've got to separate ourselves from our own reactions that come from nowhere.
Absolutely.
You have to sort of,
For that, extreme alertness is required.
oh, you're not kidding?
To remain separated to your own reactions of the mind, and extreme alertness disposition is required. It will not happen automatically. You have to. It will only happen when you are not reacting. You have built up a bank balance of being attentive to the self. Then it will happen.
That's it.
Eh?
Putting in regular deposits.
Absolutely, putting in regular deposits at frequent intervals throughout the day. And then once that deposit is there, then when the situation arises, the equipment called body, breath, mind, intellect, they will respond in a particular way. But because the deposit is there, most of the time your abidance is in contemplating on the self. That disposition will continue to be. Initial stages it happens and you recognize, and immediately, slowly, while reaction is taking place, in the middle of the reaction you will check out, but the reaction will continue to take place. Sometimes you have seen, when you become angry or you are having an argument, you can continue to be arguing, but you are disconnected with the argument.
That's right.
It has happened, isn't it? Sometimes we are seeing
Yes. Yes.
and we get disconnected from the seeing, but the eyes are still seeing. It happens.
Yes,
It can
yes.
happen here also.
Yeah.
That your eyes are seeing and the ownership is given up.
The
You have
mind
become
is
disconnected.
miles away.
You have become disconnected. You are disconnected from the interaction of the seer and seen. You are neither being the seer and you are not interested in the seen. Suddenly you have checked out, but the seeing is still going on. You are still walking. You are still driving.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Now, so you know how to do it. Now you have to do it consciously in your daily life. And that is only possible by coming back to the essential nature. Keep contemplating on the essential nature, automatically these things will happen. When you are aware that you are disturbed by something in the world, immediately practice indifference. Or the first option, that the seer and seen go back to their
You know
own
what
source.
happens then, don't you? People will tell you you're sitting on the fence and you're cold and emotionless and you couldn't care less about anything but yourself. That's what they tell you.
Let them
Doesn't
be.
matter what they say, does it really?
No, but that's what they
Although
tell
we do care,
so
don't we?
when that sort of thing happens, or you, and if and you know, either you remain indifferent and don't worry about it, but if it is affecting what they are saying and you don't want to do the wrong thing,
No, that's it.
so you do the drama that makes them pleased.
Yes.
But do that drama without getting attached to the drama.
Play the game.
Play the game
I
without.
can't play that
Play
game.
the game.
That's you. That's you.
That's
So you
me.
find out what works for you.
Yeah, I can't play that one. I've got to be
I'm
honest.
giving you different options. So you work out what works for you.
Yes, that's right.
If it remaining indifferent works, good. If playing the game without becoming the player, if that is it.
You've got a choice.
It becomes one to sort of hurt people's feelings if we can help it, but you can sort of respond in a way that's not
In each case,
confrontational.
in each case, either the experienced and the experiencer unite in the experience. Where the experiencer and experienced disappear, or due to the disinterestedness of the experiencer towards the object of experience, the latter loses its stamina and goes back to its own being. When the mirror is removed, the reflection goes back to where it came from, the original reflected object. The first type of meditation means complete and intense involvement in the experience so that the trio disappears. To be 100% involved in the present is joy, and the other one is being indifferent. So both ways. Either be completely involved or be completely indifferent. Both will lead you to the same. There was a beautiful attachment that came to me many years ago. The photographer has got the Curlian photography and he has looked at a flower and he has zoomed into the flower at the power of 10. He zooms in, first power of 10, then again at the power of 10 he zooms into the flower. After 7 or 8 zooming in, he finds there is nothing. There is just emptiness. Now he did the same exercise. He looked at the flower and he started zooming out at the power of 10 with the camera. First, such a big flower became such a small flower, then became a tiny dot. Kept zooming out 10 times, 8 or 9, 10 times. Again what he found? There is zero. There is nothing there. See? I have got that attachment somewhere in my laptop. I should show you. Amazing. So either you get involved, you will reach the same conclusion where the seer and the seen, where you feel so much in one with what you are involved with. When they say work is worship, you get involved in the work so much. The example given was the cow is grazing and grazing and grazing and it became the grass. So it is that's the meditation, that you keep thinking about something so intensely that you become that. As you think, so you become, isn't it? So you keep thinking of the truth to such an extent that you become that. The another way is that you be indifferent. Indifferent to what? That which is other than the truth. The more you remain different, everything that was other than the truth will go back to where it came from. Where did it come from? From the truth alone. Because the truth alone became the seer and the seen, the knower and the known. And in this way, he who gains joy at the time of doing the work, he enters the Brahma Karma Samadhi. Now, this is again, work is worship, as I told you. That is the thought that is told, that some people, those people like our Stanton, he keeps tinkering away with the jobs in his workshop. He says, my mind is empty at that time. He's in meditation. He's in meditation.
It's when you might stop something.
You are in the zone, so to speak.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
When I'm speaking, I find myself in the zone. When we are in satsang, not only me, you also must be finding yourself being in the zone. that you are absolutely contented, absolutely satisfied. Every now and then the questions may come. You are observing the mind is having those questions, but there is a different disposition,
Yes, yes.
which is undisturbed disposition, isn't it? And that is what it is. Keep accessing that again and again, being that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.